Well, hello and welcome. Welcome. I was just looking for. I was going to say. So, welcome to the studio. Yes. Um, have you got your drink? And that's. I was just like, oh, I've got mine in here. Oh, welcome to Arts and Wellness Café. You are so welcome in my creative space, and I hope that you are well. We've had our much needed rain. I'm not sure, like, when everything's dried, how it's going to look, whether it's going to take, a couple of bursts of rain. But it was nice to have, the ground wetted. And I went out there this morning, and if you saw I shared on my Instagram stories, just one of my routines is going out into the garden and just kind of taking stock, check in, and I usually end with, well, before I end with sitting down, just kind of taking it all in and grounding myself by placing my bare feet on the grass. I do any work that needs to be done, and yeah, so it's kind of, you know, a compact kind of hour and a half is spent out there in the morning, and Cole does his running around and everything. But yeah, that almost fits into, well, it does, I guess, fits into the topic for the week, the word for the week, which is quiet. And I started off in the podcast, the Realityarts podcast for Creating in Faith. So I'll leave the link for that recording so you can listen to it. And, really kind of just looking at, there's, as you get older, the idea of quiet, do you need more quiet, or do your ears get more sensitive? I know that we don't hear a certain range as we get older. The higher notes, we just kind of, really high notes, like just under what dogs can hear, like, the really high notes, the dogs can hear that, and then young people can hear not as high as the dog, but anyway. But as we get older, that thing changes, and that's one of the things outside of the other things that you don't have to accept, like your body aching. It's not just a natural progression that you start to feel aches and pains. I mean, if you're not exercising, obviously you will. If you're not mobile, then you will as you get older, naturally. But if you're exercising, why shouldn't you be supple? Why shouldn't you be able to, do a backflip and a crab? Why not? But the other thing about quiet is that spending time reflecting, and I wonder how many of you do that, and is that something that you do? Have you spent time this week just for yourself, being quiet? And if you want help, if you look at my Stillness, I did a little recording, and I'll leave that link below, for Stillness, and a little exercise where we're just kind of taking our minds to a place, sitting in our chair. So you can do this wherever you are. You can even do it when you're standing. So you're just being still and taking note of your surroundings and listening. And for quiet, it would be the same thing. It's just like, so no chatter, no talking. Just listen to what you can hear, and you may be able to pick up the sound of the birds. And they very rarely, only at night, you don't hear them, and then you'll hear the singing frogs or the crickets or the cicadas, and they're just like, they're really noisy. They're like, I've been buried for 17 years and now I've got to find a mate tonight. So they're just like, what? Well, they don't make that noise, but it's a really loud, shrill kind of long. It's like it's like, how are you making that noise? Anyway, but it's very important for us to spend that time being quiet and just really reflecting, still in your mind. And I do that in the mornings, as I get up. Before I get up, I do that. I just kind of, before you kind of get up and yes, I've got all these things to do, it's just like you're awake and then you're just listening. Everybody else is asleep. I'm always the first one to be up and out, and they get up like 2 hours later. So for me, that is a precious time in the morning, because then they're doing their, my son's playing his music and my husband's doing his training, and he's got the music blaring. Feels like a gym. But I then can't have the peace that I would find, and I do a bit of stitching and sewing, have my cup of tea, just look out the window, and this is after I've come in from the garden. I just look out, look at the birds are kind of playing and darting around the place. And so think about what it is that you can do to enable you to have that moment of quiet where your thoughts are allowed to just kind of come out and play, and you start thinking of things, and whether you write them down or whether you just think about them first and then write them down, however you do it, but it's really important to get that time. So I wanted to share with you a journal page, so that will be coming up. And well, we didn't do a book this week, did we? I'll start back next week and I'll do a book or a product. But I've been with the journaling, which I'll show you the one that I did for this word, quiet, and the birds. So that's like me out in the garden, and all the all the wildlife and the birds are kind of just, hey. And sometimes you feel as if you've intruded in their space, because they're like, the hummingbirds, they make a whooshing sound as they beat their wings, and if they're darting after one another, it's just like, oh, okay, let me just move out the way. But so we're going to share this page, and I hope you enjoy the process. So it's in the composition notebook once again, and it is just about finding that space to create. The products that I've been using on here are gelatos, and they were I've had them for years but never really used them. I brought them when there was a buzz about them, but never really, I was into acrylics and things like that, and it was just like, I'm not really sure about these. And it wasn't until I got my Neo Colours, which is water soluble wax, that now I'm thinking, oh, okay, yeah, they're very similar. This is how I'd use them. So let's go and see how I created that, and we'll come back in to the studio. Well, we never left the studio, but we'll come back. We're going to go to this page. So this is my composition art journal, and it's a lined book, and I'm just working on the pages. So what I've done so far on this page is add stained coffee filter and I like adding additions to the surface because otherwise the paper's really thin. So you can paint it, you can add gesso, but I like to end up with a chunky looking book, so adding something to the surface works for me. Oh, I've got 2 pages like that. Okay, we're not doing a double page spread, we're just going to do one. So first of all, you cover it with, you could use tissue paper, or you could use, like I've done here, coffee filter. And I'm gonna get started in a minute. I'm just realizing I don't have my butterflies here. So in here, a while back, I have got words, papers and shapes, and I've got some butterflies here that I had also done. Might use a different colour. So I've got 3 butterflies to choose from, and it's just going to be a quick page. We're going to do a quick image, and let me just check what I've used on here. Okay, so this is the edition, and I'm thinking I'm going to use that one, and we're going to do a face. So the face, whatever face comes up, we'll work with that. So I'm feeling this kind of face, and sometimes it's going with what the way that the shapes are on the paper, but there's always some figure there. And all my women always have earrings. I love big earrings, big silver earrings. I love silver. And I'll just do where we know the features are going. And she's going to have her eyes closed as well, because the word for this week is quiet. So she's just kind of taking everything in, and she's got, actually she has got a headscarf, a wrap. That's what she's got on. And that's how we start. So I've got some gelatos and some, these are the gelatos here, and then these are similar wax soluble crayons, and I'm just going to add colour to the page in spots. Now I like to add them randomly, and then work from there.
quiet.
So, how was that? It's always nice to play in your art journal if you've got one. If you haven't yet started and you're still kind of feeling a bit um, I don't know, hesitant, come and check out some of my videos where I show you how you can very easily make art journals out of cardboard boxes, fabric, whatever, and yeah, just start, or just get a composition notebook. Look, this is just a notebook. If you've got any kind of um, feelings that, oh no, I just don't know what to do, play along with me. Yeah, and as I said, this is just a composition notebook that I haven't even covered yet. I will get round to it, but I'll wait until it's like I feel the urge to kind of not necessarily work on a page, but work on the outside. I'm waiting for either to create the kind of painted paper that I want, or use fabric. I'm not yet sure, and I want to kind of maybe add use some glue, like a glue gun. That's what I'm feeling. But yeah, it's important really to think about the word stillness, not stillness, but stillness and quiet. Yeah, because for me, I'm finding that I've been craving that more, and I'm always getting a bit chilly in here, even though we're in the tropics. Because the rain has fallen and the breeze is now blowing, it's cooled everything down. It's just me. Anyway, having that moment of quiet allows you to get into other things, allows you to think about other things, maybe explore and experiment. And that's what I've been doing. So, really continuing to finish off some of the stitching projects that I have, and getting them to the place where it's just like I don't want to, because I don't want to just be starting stuff and saying, oh look, I did this and I did this. It's just like I did this and this is a finished piece, because I do like working on more than one thing at the same time. So I have, over the past few weeks, kind of shared stuff that, okay, now I need to finish it, but I'm working on other stuff, and okay, so it's giving yourself the time, and that's what I'm allowing myself to do. I need the quiet so that I can think about what it is I'm doing, maybe write and journal, and that's something that I haven't done for a while, just writing, and I'm yearning to do that. So it's just like, that's what you need to do. And I think that's where this composition notebook was leading me, because even pages like this, I can then do some journaling on that about how I'm feeling. And with this page, I just put a matte gel on it just to kind of protect it, seal it all in. And where we've got this, I made this years ago, the butterfly, but the glitter, some of it was coming off, and as I put the gel on, it's kind of, I'm not sure whether you can get the glitter. Anyway, it's nothing big, but I like the effect, and so it's making me want to write about the idea for myself of just being quiet and getting things done, and moving yourself forward. Look, we're nearly at the end of the month, so time is moving. Even though for some of us we've been suspended in disbelief, but because of the global event, years to come, when somebody hears this and they hear me say the global event, I wonder if they say, what was that, but anyway, it's time for you to take time for yourself. It's time for you to stop all of the noise and make room for you to focus on the next step. And it's in that quietness that you'll find some of the answers, some of the solutions, and even more questions. So look forward to continuing to meet up with you, and I'm glad you could join me. Yeah.